the 70th episode of The Follow-Up. I'm Eden, and this is my dad, Noah. And every week for about the past 3 years, we've been sitting on my bed and having a conversation about something we want to talk about. And this week, we're going to talk about friendships. And make sure to leave some comments if you would like. We love hearing from you, and we appreciate it when you leave a nice little note. You can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can like us and follow us on Spotify, and you can subscribe on YouTube. So friendships, let's talk about that. They're complicated, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that go into it.
I'd say.
So many things, and I'll just list a few. There's trust, a lot. It's also just like how you interact with them, how they are to you.
Mm-hmm. The first thing you said was trust. How do you figure out whether you can trust someone or trust a friend?
Or like if they really feel connected to something.
Okay.
And maybe it's a little silly or something.
Okay.
I'm not going to just go against them. And I'm going to kind of, like, people that, they're, like, there for you, basically.
Okay, so, all right, so...
It's two different topics.
So what you're saying is that if, just because someone likes something or dislikes something or someone, whatever it is, like, as long as it's not harmful, you're not going to say, whoa, what are you doing? Like, or no, like, I think that's gross, or that's disgusting, or saying, like, I can't believe you like that.
Yeah,
so in that sense, it's you're not putting someone down.
Yeah.
Okay, so that can happen a lot at any age, but a lot of your age of kids just putting each other down to make themselves feel better. So if you said to somebody, I love Judy Blume books, if that other person would say to you, oh, really? Like, oh, I can't stand, like, why would you like that? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
But if,
doesn't make me feel good.
Right, so but if someone else said that to you, and you couldn't stand Judy Blume books, how would you respond?
Oh, that's great. What's your favorite book?
Okay, right. Or what do you like about it? Because then maybe by asking some questions, you might think, oh, like maybe I should give it another shot. Okay, so it's being supportive of somebody, or not necessarily just not putting them down all the time.
Yeah, or also after for trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you tell them something,
a secret.
Not necessarily a secret, but something you're just telling them.
Okay.
If they're gonna go gossiping about it.
Okay, so you don't even have to say, hey, this is a secret, don't tell anybody. You don't want to have to feel that way.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember...
Or like if you could tell people things.
Right, so you feel like you shouldn't have to tell somebody, hey, don't tell anybody this.
Yeah.
They should just know that, hey, yeah, this is probably between us.
Yeah. Right.
And that's really important to be able to develop into a friendship and find these things out. And unfortunately, the opposite will happen, where someone will say something to somebody else, and then you're going to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't, I'm saying you, like anybody, that's why you shouldn't gossip that way, because then it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
And I remember you, like, pretty early on, like first grade even, I think, saying something to somebody to find out whether you could trust them. You would tell them something, maybe first or second grade, like, hey, this is a secret, don't tell anybody, but it really wasn't a secret. And then you'd find out that you'd hear it come back to you and be like, okay, well, I can't trust that person. Right.
Happens.
Yeah, but you want to be able to rely on people as friends. Yeah.
I like people that are there for you. Like have your back.
Yes.
Those people.
That's the most important thing in friendship, I think. Yeah. Is people who are there to have your back. Who you know, hey, that person's gonna support me.
Yeah, or
they're gonna make me feel good.
Yeah, like if I tell them something, or I'm having a hard day or something.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Yes. So I totally agree with that. That there are people there that you can lean on, friends that you can lean on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And at your age, though, and especially here in New York, kids change schools a lot, and you've had a few really close friends leave New York, change schools. You don't see them as much. People are spread out, and
so I still have tons of people in my school who've been there for years.
Yeah, right. So it is, but forming that connection and knowing who you can trust and who you can rely on does really help out who you are. But then I think when you went to camp this summer, you found some more people who you felt like, you know what, like this, if I was around this person every day, yeah, they would have my back.
Yeah.
Or even at camp, like, yeah, this person gets me a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And it's, but making friends is hard.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's also hard, like, finding out that you can't trust them anymore.
Right.
Or all that.
Right. Those realizations are difficult. Yeah. And there's no way around it sometimes. It's just sad. Like when you feel like, wow, I really thought I was friends with that person. And I'm not talking about that you have to be best friends.
No.
I don't really love that term. But you thought you were friends with this person, and then they do something, you're like, friends just simply wouldn't do that to each other.
No, and not like best friends or anything, just like people that are around each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like we were this has happened with multiple of my friends. We've been in the same class, we've interacted a bunch, played a bunch, and then it's just like,
right, just gone. Yeah.
Which is always a hard disappointment.
Yes. I think one of the things that Mom and I have passed on to you, which I think is a blessing and a curse, is high expectations of friends.
Yes.
And so that when you have high expectations of people, inevitably, people are going to let you down.
Yeah.
And at different times of your life, it hurts at various levels. Because when you don't know, like at your age, you might not know how to process all of that. You're more thinking like, why would they do that? Like, who would treat someone that way? And then, as you get older, you try to rationalize it maybe, or you're trying to hold on to a friendship that after time you're thinking,
it's kind of broken.
Like, why am I, like, what am I, like, this person the other person's not putting anything into the friendship, so why am I trying to put this effort in? Like, maybe, but that doesn't mean that I don't care about that person anymore or anything like that. It just, you only have a finite amount of time in the day. Like, so I can't, if this person's not going to put in time to the friendship, why should I be putting in time to the friendship?
It's not like you have to never talk to them or speak to them.
Right.
It's like they're not putting time. Okay, maybe I hang out a little more with these people.
It just is what it is.
Like, yeah, if they want to start putting more time into it, then maybe I can.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be like it's like a scale. It has to be even. If you want it to be even.
Yeah, and friendships have to be on that scale.
Yeah.
And there are some times that when it goes down this way a little bit, then
you have to bring it back.
Then you have to bring it back up because it might dip the other way because we're not perfect as friends, and then you have to lift it back up. You also have to look within yourself and realize, okay, so maybe I wasn't a great friend, or maybe I should have done this, or maybe I could do this. Like you had a situation at school with a friend last week where something happened in class, and from what you said, it seemed to be a misunderstanding. But I said to you, the next day, say something to her, and just say, look, I value our friendship, so I just want to explain the situation again, and I think that, I think that can help just by, so it's not necessarily always I'm sorry. Why'd you do that? Like, I don't like you. Just an explanation, and hopefully that the other person or you, if it's coming from the other side, can think, you know what? Yeah, like, she didn't mean to do anything wrong. Like, it was just a miscommunication.
If you just say, I'm sorry, that's not an apology.
No, it's just a way to move on.
It's like, I'm sorry that you explain. I never meant to, hurt your feelings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's more of an apology.
Yeah, but then an explanation of the situation
also
can help.
explain how maybe you felt from it from your side, and maybe discuss it out a little bit.
Yeah, have a real conversation. I do have a question. There are a lot of things that you're interested in.
Like what?
Say current events, basketball,
Let's use basketball.
bracelet making, all sorts of things. Okay, and I say to you, Mom and I ask you a lot, what did you guys talk about at school today?
Oh, I never.
Or what did you talk about?
I don't ever remember.
Or what did you talk about at lunch? And you're whatever, the recess or whatever. And so, and if I know we've said to you before, well, why don't you bring up things that you're interested in? And you've said, well, they're not interested in that.
It's true.
But my question is, how do you know?
Because I've already mentioned it to them. I mentioned it to
sure?
a bunch of people last year. I mentioned it to the boys. I mentioned basketball to the boys last year, and they were like, "No."
Okay, but
they X'd out on me.
But I wouldn't give up on that.
I did it multiple times.
I wouldn't give up on that.
I am giving up on that.
If you went in tomorrow and said to one of the boys in your class who might be a nice kid who likes basketball, say, "Hey, did you see Victor Wembanyama yesterday? Or did you see that game last week against the Suns? It was crazy. You can watch the highlights on the NBA app."
They're like, "No."
I wouldn't be so quick to write people off. I'm not saying give them every chance in the world, but
okay, maybe
I wouldn't write people off so quickly.
Okay, but no one else likes basketball.
Okay,
or follows it.
All right, but I'm saying maybe if you on the news you see Hoda's Boost. And it's a video that maybe they saw on social media already, and you say, "Hey, did you guys see this video?" And then you laugh about, "No, I didn't see that, but I did see this, and this was funny, and this was funny."
A bear eating lasagna.
Right, a bear eating lasagna. So it leads to something else. So it's not, you don't have to say "Hey, guys, you see what's happening in the Middle East?" I'm not saying bring that up at lunch. I'm talking about just other things you guys can share and have a conversation with.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might be able to help. But I also know that there are different types of friends that you might enjoy hanging out with, but aren't you don't want to spend 5 hours with.
Yeah, and
I get that.
There are some friends that I would spend days with.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then not everybody has to be a best friend or have a best friend. And a message for parents and also other people who aren't parents, don't ask a child if they have a lot of friends. "Oh, do you like school? Yeah. Do you have a lot of friends?" Think about what you might be trying to get out of that answer. If the kid says, "Yeah," and then the parent says, "Oh, that's great. Okay," and the conversation ends there. And if the kid says, "No, not really," well, then what? So I would say just avoid that question, because what's the point?
Yeah.
Right. What's the point?
Because it's also if the person says no, then that makes them feel really bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly right. But just so you know that that Mom and I are always here to talk about all sorts of things, and we know from years and years of experience, friendships are really, really difficult, and they take a lot of work, and they evolve over time. So if you're having a hard time one day, it might not be the same the next day. If you're having a hard time 1 year, it might not be the same. It might not be the same next year. But as long as you continue to think that and feel that I am a good friend, then that's all you need to worry about. All right. Good topic. I love you.